Last week, I was thinking about the courses, books, and podcasts that really changed my life. But then I realized the most valuable lessons that made the biggest impact on my life actually came from the unconventional experiences that I've chased. And these weird experiences gave me the confidence to quit my job, start a business, and go all in, all on me, all the time at 35 years old. And these are the 4 life experiences that really changed my life. One of the most life-changing experiences in my 20s was living alone. Usually when you're in your 20s, you want to be living with roommates and have that friends experience. And I did all of that for 4 years with my then boyfriend. We dated for 8 years and we broke up a month after I started PA school, and my entire world fell apart. I didn't know what to do with my life or really who I was as a person. I mean, did I like Thai food or did we like Thai food? Did I actually like watching UFC or did I watch UFC because he liked it? So when I graduated PA school, living alone was really appealing, but I just didn't think I could afford it until I saw one of my classmates do it effortlessly. And I remember thinking, wow, I want to be independent like her. So then I said, why can't I? I rented a tiny 1-bedroom apartment and I learned to live frugally and I learned to budget my money. I also learned how to cook for myself. I learned to meal prep. I learned to commit to a 5 a.m. gym routine. And I learned to go to bed at 9 p.m. every single night. But these are the healthy habits that I developed because I didn't have roommates that influenced me to go party all the time. I thought the point of living alone was to be an independent woman. But what I actually learned was how to think for myself, how to be a contrarian thinker. Being a contrarian means you're not a sheep. You're not doing what everybody else is doing and you're not following the herd. You're an independent thinker and doer. You think and live outside the box. And living alone really allowed me time to figure out who I was and what I liked. And one thing I noticed was that I didn't like TV. I didn't like loud noises. I preferred silence. And I also realized I love reading, but mostly non-fiction books. And this was when I discovered how to reinvest and reinvent myself. And you can't learn that kind of stuff at a conference or in a book. You really have to live it, to experience it. And that's what I did in my 20s. The second experience that I pursued in my 20s was I took a job that I loved in a location that I absolutely hated. I actually booked my flight home to Vegas and I sold all of my furniture right before graduation. And I went on an interview in a small practice in Fairfield, Connecticut because I wanted to practice my interviewing skills. And also because my friend told me I would love this job. And unfortunately, she was right. I took the job because I fell in love with the position and the people that I would be working with. So I made an executive decision to put my social life and romantic life on hold to focus on my career because let's be honest, the dating pool in Connecticut is non-existent. But this job was my ultimate dream job. It was my first job and still the best job I've ever had. It taught me a very valuable life lesson. You don't get a job for money. You get a job to collect skills and experiences, and that's exactly what I did there. I learned to be an autonomous and independent PA. And as a result, my confidence skyrocketed, which, by the way, is the one reason why I'm not afraid to quit my job and uproot my life. I'm confident enough in myself to know that I'll figure everything out, so I don't have to panic. And at this job, I also learned that mentorship is the most important factor in becoming successful. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. You just need someone who's already done what you're trying to do and follow their footprint. That's a key to success. Copy someone else's homework. They've made all the mistakes, so you don't have to. So listen to them and copy the homework. And if you want to copy my homework, check out the link below for the Happy PA Academy, where I teach you how to become a financially independent PA without burnout. Lesson number 3 I learned was to trust myself. And I learned this lesson the hard way. I married a man so he can get a green card. It sounds really weird, but hear me out. My husband and I have a rather unique love story. We met in a hostel in Colombia. He had a quarter-life crisis and he quit his job and left Australia to travel the world, to Asia, Europe, and South America. And as fate would have it, we landed in Colombia at the exact same time. We had a 3-day fling and decided to keep in touch and just be friends. We met up again later on in Connecticut, again in Boston and New York when he was traveling the US, and when he was in Europe, we met again in Prague and in Switzerland. And after a few months of this ongoing romantic fling, we decided to pursue a long-distance relationship. And then we decided, hey, let's come out to the US. So he packed his bag and moved to the US, and we lived in Connecticut for a few months, and we finally moved to the Bay Area so he can go to school. But after his student visa expired within 1 year, we got married. only because he needed a green card and to stay in the country. And the rest is kind of history. Now, this all sounds super romantic because it worked out. Now, if we broke up and I told this story, you'd be like, well, duh, Sam, obviously you barely knew the man. And yes, that is true. I barely knew the man. We got married 10 months after he moved to the States, and before that we dated maybe for 6 months, maybe a little over a year of dating. Now, how was I so confident that this man was the right man for me? I wasn't. I was only 85% sure. I married the right man on my wedding day, and our first year of marriage was so rocky because all of our money issues came up. But that's a story for another time. But why did I marry him? Well, I don't know. I had a gut feeling and I said, I trust myself. Despite my friends and family telling me it was a bad idea, I knew myself and I knew exactly what I was getting into. Now, this is probably the best lesson of all, learning to trust yourself. Most people go through their entire lives without knowing who they are or what they want. And they spend far too much time listening to everybody else's opinion, their advice, and they ignore their own intuition. The reason I'm able to confidently quit my job at 35 years old fearlessly without regret is because I trust myself. I have a proven track record of making some pretty damn good decisions. And even if I make bad decisions, even if I fail, I know how to get up and keep going. Now, speaking of failures, let's talk about how I failed my boards. I took my boards a month after I graduated PA school, and I was so confident, maybe overly confident, because I had already passed my OSCEs, my end of rotation exams, and I thought I was at the finish line. But I still failed my PANCE. I know, I got a little arrogant, I got cocky. Now, there's a lot of things that happened that led to this major fail, and I won't get into it here, but failing my PANCE was probably the best thing that ever happened in my PA career. It taught me to embrace failure and to fall in love with failure, but more importantly, it taught me how to be an incredible marketer. What do I mean by this? Well, anytime anybody talks about failing or hardships or obstacles, I always bring up failing my PANCE, especially when I'm interviewing for a new job. Hi, I'm Sam, I'm a failure, and I love to fail. That's me. You see, I own my failures. I use that failure to build myself up as a confident woman. I talk about my struggles with test taking, my struggles with imposter syndrome, and how I overcame all of those obstacles and still earned a seat at the table. And this makes me very relatable to almost anybody. And relatability is the key that you're not tapping into. It is your one ultimate superpower. So yeah, my 20s was wild. A lot of traveling, a lot of partying, a lot of hard work and heartbreak, but mostly a lot of love and a lot of learning. And it was an area that I lived very, very well. And my 20s set me up for my 30s. And right now, where I'm at in my 30s, is probably the best years of my life. So if you're struggling in your 20s, your 30s are better. Just trust me, your 20s are not that great. Carrie from Sex and the City lied to you. Your 30s is where it's at. Here's to being just completely lost, no idea what you're doing, but still following your own route in life and learning along the way. I hope this video served you somehow. Like and subscribe for more content like this. I will catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.